The sharp sound of shattering glass cut through the dinner rush at the Silver Hearth, a cozy restaurant tucked into a bustling corner of East Portland. "I'm so sorry." Claire Reynolds dropped to her knees, hastily gathering shards of what used to be a water glass. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear of injury, but from the unmistakable sting of humiliation. She didn't even have to look up to know her manager was glaring at her. "That's your third one this month, Reynolds," barked her manager, Trent Davidson, loud enough for several nearby diners to glance over. "Coming out of your check." Claire's cheeks flushed crimson. She muttered a quiet, "Yes, Trent." "It won't happen again," as she dumped the fragments into the trash and hurried back to her section. At 27, Claire's hands were a map of burns, calluses, and the wear of labor. They told a story of someone who had once held a stethoscope, not a serving tray. Just 4 years ago, she was a promising second-year med student at Columbia University, top of her class in pediatrics. Her professors had called her a natural, compassionate, intuitive, and brilliant. "You have a way with children that I've rarely seen," her advisor had said, smiling after a clinical rotation. But that life evaporated the night her mother collapsed at home. Multiple sclerosis. The diagnosis hit like a wrecking ball. The medical bills piled up first, followed by her mother's declining mobility, and finally, the ultimate sacrifice, Claire's education. It hadn't been much of a choice. "Table 5 needs more bread, Claire. Where's your head tonight?" Trent's voice sliced through her thoughts. "Right away," she replied, grabbing a breadbasket with a forced smile and weaving through the crowd of booze and clinking silverware. Double shifts were her norm now, noon to close, 6 days a week. Most of the other servers were college kids, picking up hours between classes or parties. Claire didn't have that luxury. On her bad days, her mother couldn't even get from the bed to the bathroom without help. "Claire," a voice whispered behind her. It was Amber, the new server, barely 19 and already scheming. "Can you cover my section for 20 minutes? Tyler's outside, and he wants to talk." Claire didn't answer immediately. Amber leaned in. "You owe me. Remember when I covered for you last week? That call from your mom's neurologist." Claire had only stepped away for 7 minutes, but the guilt still clung to her like static. "Fine," she muttered. 20 minutes. Amber vanished, leaving Claire to juggle nearly double her tables. Her feet ached, her shoulders burned, but she kept going. She had to. By 9 o'clock, Amber still hadn't returned, and Claire's shoes, threadbare and 2 sizes too small, offered no relief. She'd been saving for a new pair for months, but something always came first. A prescription refill, a utility bill, groceries. Tomorrow's schedules posted, Trent called out, pinning it to the break room corkboard. Claire waited until the crowd thinned, then approached. Her heart sank. She was down 4 shifts next week, from her usual 7 to just 3. "Trent, there must be a mistake," she said, following him to his cramped office. "No mistake. We're overstaffed. I've worked those shifts for over a year. I need those hours." Trent didn't even look up. "Amber needs rent money. I made adjustments. She lives with her parents. She told everyone she's saving for Cancun." Trent shrugged. "Not my problem." Claire walked away, the pressure in her chest building. She'd already fallen behind on her mother's treatment plan. Missing another week of medication could mean irreversible setbacks. Back in the dining room, a new table had been seated in her section. A man in a sharply tailored charcoal suit sat beside a small girl in a wheelchair. The child's blonde hair hung like a curtain, shielding her face. Her posture was rigid, hands clenched on the armrests. Claire noticed the other servers had steered clear of the table. As usual, she approached with a practiced smile. "Good evening. Welcome to the Silver Hearth. I'm Claire. I'll be taking care of you tonight." The man looked up. His gaze was steady, guarded but not unkind. "Thank you. I'm Daniel Blake, and this is my daughter, Lily." Claire knelt slightly, bringing herself to Lily's eye level. "It's nice to meet you, Lily. Can I get you something to drink while you look at the menu?" For a moment, Lily said nothing. Then her eyes, bright and cautious, flicked up to meet Claire's. There was that look, the one Claire had seen dozens of times during her pediatrics rotation. The look of a child who'd been through more than any child ever should. The look of silent endurance. As Claire walked away to place their drink order, she didn't yet realize that this table, this quiet girl and her protective father, would soon change everything. Claire returned to the table with their drinks a few minutes later, setting a glass of water in front of Daniel and a strawberry lemonade with a red bendy straw in front of Lily. The girl flinched slightly at the loud clang of silverware from a nearby table, her shoulders tensing. Claire noticed instantly. Sensory sensitivity, she thought, remembering her neurodevelopment lectures. Without drawing attention to it, she casually shifted her body to block the view and noise from that direction, a subtle shield. "Here we go," she said softly, placing the drinks. "Are you two ready to order? Or do you need a few more minutes?" Daniel gave a warm but distracted smile. "I think we're ready. I'll have the grilled salmon with asparagus." He paused, glancing at Lily, who remained silent, her gaze fixed on the table. After a beat, he added, "And Lily will have the chicken tenders with mashed potatoes, please." Claire scribbled it down, but noticed Lily's fingers absent-mindedly tracing a picture of macaroni and cheese on the children's menu. Claire knelt beside her again. "You know, our chef makes the best mac and cheese in the city. It's got 3 kinds of cheese and crispy breadcrumbs on top. Would you prefer that instead?" Lily looked at her in surprise. No one had really addressed her directly all evening. A moment passed. Then slowly she nodded. "Mac and cheese it is," Claire said with a wink, adjusting the order. As Claire stood, she caught Daniel watching her closely, his expression unreadable but undeniably intrigued. At the kitchen window, Trent was waiting. "Of course. Why are you babysitting table 6? He barked. "Jessica says her section's falling apart while you're spoon-feeding your charity case." "I'm handling my section," Claire replied calmly, though her patience was fraying. "And Jessica said she'd be gone 20 minutes. That was over an hour ago." Trent's eyes narrowed. "Stop coddling the wheelchair kid and move faster. This isn't a damn clinic." Claire bit her tongue so hard she tasted copper. "Think of Mom. Think of rent. Just get through tonight." With the orders in, Claire resumed juggling her other tables. But her eyes kept drifting back to Lily. The child sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap. Daniel tried to make small talk about the food, the weather, but Lily gave no response. They looked like 2 people who once spoke a shared language but had forgotten the words. When the food arrived, Claire noticed Lily struggling. Her right hand trembled slightly as she attempted to grip her fork. Each movement required obvious effort. "Excuse me," Daniel called gently as Claire passed. "Would you mind?" He gestured helplessly toward Lily, who had just dropped a glob of mac and cheese into her lap. Without hesitation, Claire pulled up a chair. "May I sit with you for a second, Lily?" The girl's cheeks flushed, but she nodded. "You know," Claire said conversationally, "back when I was in medical school." "You were a doctor?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Almost. I was studying to be a pediatrician. That's a doctor for kids." Lily's eyes lit up with interest. "So why didn't you finish?" she asked. Daniel looked surprised, perhaps because Lily had voluntarily spoken. "My mom got sick," Claire said simply. "I had to take care of her. Sometimes we make different choices than we planned." Claire gently guided Lily's hand on the fork, showing her a grip that allowed more stability. "Your brain is doing great, Lily. It's just that the signals are having a little trouble reaching your hand. But it can improve with time and practice." Lily stared at her, fascinated. Then, she successfully lifted a bite of mac and cheese to her mouth without spilling it. "I had an accident," Lily said suddenly. "That's why I can't walk very well." Claire gave her a smile. "Well, you're doing great with that fork now. And I bet you're great at other things too." "I can draw," Lily said, shy but proud. "But only with my left hand now." "That's impressive. Most people can't draw with either hand." From across the restaurant, Claire could feel Trent's eyes burning a hole in her back. She'd spent too long at this table. But it didn't matter. As she rose, she said, "I have to check on my other guests, but I'll be back, okay?" Lily nodded, her lips forming the smallest smile. Claire had just turned away when she heard it. Lily laughed. Not a forced chuckle, not a polite giggle, but a pure, musical sound that caused nearby diners to turn their heads and smile instinctively. Daniel caught Claire's eye and mouthed, "Thank you." Throughout the evening, Claire returned whenever she could. She chatted with Lily about her favorite colors, her art teacher who now visited at home, and the dog she wanted for her next birthday. By dessert, Lily was animated, hands flying as she described a comic book she was creating with only her left hand. Daniel sat back, eyes slightly wet, as if he were watching someone come back to life. When Daniel asked for the check, Claire brought it promptly, along with a small coloring page and a pack of crayons. "On the house," she said to Lily with a wink. Daniel handed her his card without looking at the bill. As she rang it through, she noticed the name, Daniel Blake. The name tugged at something in her memory. Familiar, but she couldn't place it. When she returned with the receipt, Daniel handed her a folded bill. "You've turned what could have been a painful evening into something joyful," he said. "This is just a token of thanks." "Just doing my job," Claire replied, though they both knew that wasn't entirely true. As she turned to leave, Lily piped up, "Will you be here if we come back tomorrow?" Before Claire could answer, Trent suddenly appeared at her side, tone clipped. "Claire, office. Now." Daniel's brow furrowed. Claire forced a smile. "I'm just finishing up with my tables." Trent's voice sharpened. "Now." Claire looked back just once and saw Daniel watching her, no longer just a grateful guest, but a man silently making calculations.